Hokey Religion is an ancient weapon.
Welcome to Hokey Religion, the Star Wars podcast. This is Tyler.
This is Michael.
And let's talk about Star Wars.
Hokey Religion is an ancient weapon for no match for a good blaster at your side.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, so I finally got paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, your debt is your debt is paid.
Thank you.
So
I actually
until
paid.
you owe me again.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I mean, we were talking about this before we recorded, but I thought that
Wrong. You thought wrong.
apparently. I thought that it was going to take forever for that trailer to get cut and approved. And I mean, we were talking about a final. Well, did you say a final version was being passed around?
Yeah,
Disney?
I think the week we recorded, the final cut supposedly was going around through like the Disney offices and stuff.
But that was the rumor, the final cut.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Just trying to make sure that you said
Like
that.
they
or
were
not.
just getting a final approval on it, basically.
Just trying to make sure that you said final, the word final.
I'm fairly certain. I don't listen to our show, so I couldn't tell you. But
There's no way for us to know.
No, it's
If only there was a way that we
unknowable.
could
We don't have a time machine.
play
It
back the
can't be
tape.
done.
We could play back the tape right here.
The tape, because we record everything straight to tape.
Yes. Straight to tape, and then we
Digitize that tape.
No, we don't even do that.
Oh.
No, we just we put
mail-
that in a tape recorder and put a microphone up next to it. That's it.
We don't mail the tape to the website to upload it.
I don't know. Is that how it works? I don't do that. You do that
I
part.
don't do anything. They just
Wait a
it just
second.
happens, right?
So we just hit record on this thing and it just ends up on the internet at some point.
That's what I
We might want to
what I
look into
assume.
that. Well, anyway,
don't mess with things if it's working.
that's true.
Just leave it as it is.
If it's
Don't
being
want to anger
recorded.
whatever creatures are causing this to happen.
I thought for some reason that the trailer was going to take forever to like get cut and get approved and all that junk.
Based off of no prior
And-
knowledge or research.
Well, yeah, it was just kind of a feeling, sure. I also thought that it would be closer to like I mean, I don't know how this is related, but like the, Black Friday, end of November holiday, like beginning of the holidays season, like closer to then. When were we saying, was it middle of October that we were saying, or was it late October?
I think
It was middle of October,
I think
wasn't
our
it?
last assumption were that tickets were going to go on sale mid-October, based off of just other things related to theaters talking about tickets going on sale.
And the trailer came out the 19th? Or was it... I can't remember now. I probably should know. I mean...
the date the trailer came out, but it was a Monday, because it was Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
the tickets went on
that's
sale early
I think
and broke the internet.
I think that was the 19th. But anyway, I mean, it doesn't matter what day it was. But I thought it was just going to be at least towards that, beginning of the holiday or closer to that time. I don't know. I had a good reason in my mind for when I thought it was going to happen.
With much research and prior knowledge, made a better guess at when the trailer would come out, and I was correct.
Well, whatever.
I couldn't. I mean, I just couldn't see them waiting that long for it to come out.
I guess not. I mean, it makes sense
They had to
now.
do something.
It makes sense now.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well,
It's
yeah.
out now.
Yeah, and it's had so many views. It's ridiculous.
But yes, you're paid. You're welcome. I lost. I'll admit it.
Good. I'm glad.
All right. Well, we've got a few Ewok eyelids.
Yeah, let's get into Ewok eyelids.
So last episode, there were, I don't know, did we have more screw ups last episode than we did usually, or than we've had in the
I
past?
guess if you take into account the length of the episode
It was long.
plus amount of screw ups, it's probably the same as there would normally have been.
The same ratio.
The same ratio of screw ups to time.
The same ratio of BS to weep that we put out.
Someone make a chart of time to screw up for the podcast. Make a chart per episode.
Well, I think the main one I guess this is the reason why I was thinking that last episode was the worst so far, was that as soon as we finished recording and I got home, I was, goofing around on Twitter, looking at Twitter, and I saw someone post something about the Han and Leia theme in the trailer, which I didn't pick up on at all of the many times that I watched that the night that it came out, and every day since
Pretty
then.
much, yeah.
But yeah,
we'll get into. I have something to mention with that later too. But there were hints of the Han and Leia theme in the trailer, but just the music in general. There were definitely callbacks to certain themes, obviously from Star Wars to give you that feeling. But I think we never really questioned it. We just assumed it was John Williams' composure. His new compositions.
Yeah.
But turns out that was not new John Williams music. It was just remixing, and some other artists remixed, trailer music artists remixed the music and made music for the trailer. Was it actually remixed, or was it a score that was recorded, not recorded by John Williams? It was John Williams' score reworked by other artists. Because there's that part at the end of the trailer with the, I guess is it Luke's theme? At the very end. Whatever theme, I don't know I should probably know the name of the theme, but it's the theme when, Luke is on Tatooine and he's looking at the twin sunsets. It's that, but it's like stretched out and slowed down. So it sounded like it was, I don't know, re-recorded or something like that. I couldn't tell if it was, because of that, I couldn't tell if it was brand new, recorded music, maybe not by John Williams, but another a new scoring or recording of something. Yeah. As far as I'm aware, it was all just reworked music. Okay. But interesting. So it's not, we haven't heard any new John Williams music. Nope. Nothing yet, which that actually I like that. I do too, but it's the same thing. Like you want it so bad at this point that you just even a snippet, just to know that, hey, that was some new music, just to have that snippet of music. But we have nothing new at this point. Yeah, which like I said, I like that. I think it would be cool to go into the movie, and then hear brand new. Well, like we keep saying, I mean, JJ's John music. JJ's John Williams doing this so much better than John music. John music. It is technically John music. But we got the famous conductor, John Music. How convenient that his name was that. No, but we didn't really think about it too much. Yeah. We've been saying for a while now that, obviously thank the maker, George Lucas, for doing what he has, but just how JJ has been doing such a better job of kind of keeping things under wraps, keeping things away from you. Yeah. Like we said before, how with episode 1, the Lego game came out like a month before the movie did and had the entire story in the game. Right. I think the novel may have even come out before the movie did. It did. The game came out before the novel came out. Well, I don't know if it came. I don't know about the novel. I can't remember on the novel. I knew the Lego. I remember distinctly seeing the novel in stores very close to that time. I don't remember if it was before or right after. But like we were talking about before, the soundtrack, that was a Phantom Menace, right? Didn't the soundtrack for that come out before as well? So. Or at least the title of the tracks? Whereas everything now, the book version of the movie, the soundtrack for the movie, everything comes out day 1, the 18th. Yeah. So we're not going to have any prior knowledge because they're keeping that kind of there's no sacred. There's no pre-order for the soundtrack? There's a pre-order for the soundtrack, but it doesn't come out until the 18th. Really? The soundtrack releases on the 18th. The book comes out on the 18th. Well, is the pre-order active on the 18th, or can you just buy it on the 18th? You can pre-order it now. I'm assuming you would be able to buy it in stores on the 18th. But the track list isn't available anywhere you can pre-order it? Not that I know of, and the only place I know that you can pre-order right now, as far as I'm aware, is Disney. Oh. It's like the Disney store. Yeah, that makes sense. No Amazon or iTunes or anything? I haven't looked. I haven't researched it. I just know every time I see anything about pre-ordering it, it's always linked to the Disney store, obviously. And there's no track list or anything?
associated. Yeah.
Wow. So we're not gonna have, they're keeping it very. This is when everything comes out.
Right.
Even the other books that have to do with characters in the movie.
Right.
Which we have one of those to talk about in a little bit too. But keeping with our segment, a couple other things we talked about. We talked about the movie poster, and how great it looked. After the fact, again, just like the music, we found this poster was made by someone else and was not a Drew Struzan poster.
Yeah, that was one of the things here we need to mention. We couldn't remember for some reason we couldn't remember Drew Struzan's name.
Yeah, Drew Struzan, the guy that did the D23 poster and done a poster for pretty much every film.
Right.
Up to now.
And I have a couple fun facts about Drew Struzan here that I want to mention. Drew Struzan created the album art for Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare album.
Very cool.
The classic cover of the guy in the tuxedo. It was very like comic book kind of art. It was a cool cover. Did the poster for, among others, Big Trouble in Little China, one of my favorite movies.
That one I couldn't see so much. Not as much as the next one.
I thought the exact opposite when I saw it today. When I was looking this stuff up, I was like, "Of course, that's his poster. It looks just like."
I guess I think the
everything
next
else
one you had written down was that he did the poster for Blade Runner, which that one I can definitely tell that was Drew Struzan.
Yeah, and many other posters, but yeah, Big Trouble in Little China was the one that I didn't know before, and seeing it now is like, yeah, totally. That's totally him.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and he did a cover for Superman Action Comics number 800, which is not really a special issue. It's an anniversary issue, but nothing really special happens in it.
Yeah, it's just a cool cover.
From what I remember.
So Drew Struzan didn't do the official movie poster, which I think is kind of sad. Yeah. I guess I'm assuming that's probably why they had that special D23 poster, to let him have a hand in something.
Well, I imagine there'll be some other variants of the poster. Maybe he'll do.
Hopefully. But yeah, this poster was made by the same guys that do all the big Marvel movie posters, like Avengers, things like that.
Yeah.
The guys on that team did the movie poster, which it looks great. It's just I miss that artwork, that art style.
Yeah, the new one is more digital.
It's not the artistic hand painted almost
glossy oil kind of look that he has. Yeah.
Yeah, and then another thing we mentioned last episode was regarding Kathleen Kennedy talking about Rey and her importance. And to be more specific about what she said, direct from the article she was talking to, it was an interview with The Guardian.
Yeah.
And Kennedy, this is an exact quote from that article, was, Kennedy told The Guardian that Rey would be extremely significant, but refused to reveal more details, insisting, "I don't want to spoil the story."
Very interesting.
Yeah, extremely significant.
Yeah.
So, I think we said, I was trying to paraphrasing it as she was very important, but
oh well, yeah,
same difference. But
the point being that she is a very central character.
I mean, yeah, obviously
in this
from
movie.
The poster, you can, she's front and center, but to get it from someone that this, she is very important,
right?
But I'm not gonna say anything else because I don't want to spoil the story. Which they just continue to tease us with everything.
Such teasing.
Michael mentioned a picture last episode about
BB-8.
BB-8.
I'll tweet it out later.
Yeah, we'll tweet it. But BB-8 being the stone in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
Rolling towards.
I thought it was humorous.
Rolling towards Indiana Jones. It's a pretty funny picture. We'll make sure and tweet it out there. And then
I was talking about the next one. I was talking about last episode. When in the trailer, Han is talking about the stories, being real.
The Jedi, the Sith, they're all real.
Right, and he says those three, or he says the Jedi, the dark side, and then they're real. It cuts to Finn when it says the Jedi, which is interesting. I don't know if that may be some misdirection, like we talked about.
Yeah, I think it is.
He says the dark side when it shows just like a general shot of stormtroopers. And then he says they're real, and it cuts to what we've been saying is Luke, the guy with the robot hand on R2.
Yeah, the black cloak with the robot hand on R2 with like the glow of what looks like fire off to the left.
Embers and stuff in the air. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting how, maybe if that is Luke, maybe he's kind of this hermit figure. That's like a confirmation that he's this hermit figure that everyone's been saying he is.
Maybe. I still think that shot of
This
if that
kind of
is
mythical person, that
yeah, historical figure basically.
Yeah.
That is kind
Right.
of unknown where he's at, but
right.
that shot of we're assuming to be Luke with his hand on R2 with what looks to be embers. I get the strongest feeling that is either a vision of something or a flashback to something that happened. Maybe Luke did have a school, Jedi school, training academy, whatever, and it got attacked. Everyone was killed, something like that. Maybe the Knights of
That's
Ren
interesting.
attacked, and that's like him
That's
almost in mourning.
that's an
because
interesting
looking
theory.
looking onto the view of what the devastation of
I
all
like
his hard
that.
work.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. I mean, obviously it could be something else entirely, or who knows? It could just
That's
be a
a-
vision in general of something to happen in the future.
That's a really good motivation for Luke to kind of go into hiding, though.
But because I was looking at it earlier this week and thinking back to when Anakin kind of went in and Order 66 and started.
Yeah.
He killed all the younglings.
Right.
And wrecked shop there. It got me thinking the same thing. Like, what if something happened there where everyone he was training was struck down? Maybe the Knights of Ren or even Kylo was a student that came back like Anakin and killed everyone type thing, and he's almost there devastated with his hand on R2. Like, what has happened? What have I done by bringing these people into the Jedi Order? I don't know. It's kind of a just out of nowhere thought I had, but
Yeah, I think that would be a good motivation for.
it still links into the Kylo being the problem of why he left.
Yeah.
That I like to hold on to, but it gives it a little more.
we've
weight
been
than
saying-
just Kylo being the reason.
We've been saying up to now that, it could be that Kylo was trained by Luke and kind of rebelled or whatever, and that sent Luke into a depression or, whatever, and sent him into hiding. I actually think what you were saying just now is more likely that Kylo, totally screwed something up that, Luke had going.
Yeah,
Killed a bunch of people or interfered in some way.
yeah. Even if he was being trained by Luke and came back and did this, or whether he has nothing to do with Luke at all,
Maybe.
and caused
Yeah.
it.
Or, I mean, maybe, I don't know, it seems like I like that theory, but at the same time, I don't know if Luke is the kind of person who would just kind of, I give up and go into hiding because of that. That maybe it's more, maybe his hermithood is more like inward focus. Like he's this pressure of being the last Jedi, being, having all this, all these expectations, kind of weighing on him, all this history that he has to kind of live up to, all this, power, everything that he's capable of is maybe too much to handle. So he just kind of goes away so he doesn't have to subject other people to that. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean,
I've been thinking about that too.
I've assumed at this point that he's off being a hermit too. I mean, for all we know, he was training some people and he took them with him into hiding, and is training up more Jedi than we know.
Maybe. I don't know.
I just thought that shot. That just
If
reminded me.
if the Force is truly dormant like we've been thinking it is, and something happens, just now, then I don't know. Maybe he is just kind of
By himself.
off on his own.
Yeah, I mean that's my assumption. I don't think
Right.
he has anyone else in training. Otherwise, we wouldn't need to focus on there being a new Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just talking about that shot, I like the idea of that being something horrible that did happen that caused him to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's it for Ewok Eyelids. All right, so getting back into, we were talking about the music a minute ago when we mentioned Han and Leia's theme playing.
Yeah.
We can actually play a quick snippet of that.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it.
So that music was playing when Rey starts talking about the stories, asking, are the stories, are they all true? that music starts playing when she first says that, and then it starts showing the Millennium Falcon flying around.
Yeah.
So it starts playing when Rey's talking, asking about the story. So, I mean, obviously there's a possibility it's just obviously one of the most recognizable themes from the movie.
Right.
It could just be a callback to those stories or remembering what happened with those stories with that music and that theme. Or maybe it's a hint at her being related to someone.
That was the thing I was seeing on Twitter, that people are assuming that was like a confirmation that she is Han and Leia's daughter. I don't know. I mean, like we were talking about, it could be possible that she is, but
it's starting to feel more and more like she's not.
Maybe it seems too obvious.
It does. I mean, and again, I think it may be part of that misdirection that JJ wants.
I don't know. Maybe
I think everything with Finn is a misdirection so far.
Maybe we're reading too much into it. That's
the point of our podcast.
That's what we do.
We're gonna be out of a podcast.
Oh, sorry. It's all a conspiracy.
Theories, leaks, spoilers.
Did you say WikiLeaks?
Theories.
Oh,
leaks.
theories, leaks. Oh, okay,
Spoilers.
gotcha.
And WikiLeaks about
WikiLeaks.
Star Wars.
I said conspiracy, and you said WikiLeaks.
Well,
it makes sense.
Aliens.
Aliens.
So, I mean, obviously, I do think there's a lot of misdirection going on. We've talked about how Finn being the Jedi may be a giant misdirection so far.
Yeah.
And they're putting him up front with that lightsaber constantly.
Yeah.
And if they're putting Rey up front constantly with this theme and she looks kind of similar to me. She looks similar to younger Leia and younger Padme, but
yeah,
I think they're trying to nudge us into thinking something that's not again with her.
Maybe.
Possibly.
I don't know.
I mean, she could be. Like I said, I think it would be pretty cool if her and Kylo were siblings and Han and Leia's kids. But it's getting harder and harder for me to justify her being anybody other than nobody.
Than just a nobody, yeah. It's kind of like what I was saying, or what I have been saying, that she's just... I think it's more a compelling story to have her just be a nobody that's kind of thrust into this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think Kylo being related to somebody is very compelling. Part of this, it would be a very compelling story.
Maybe.
Story arc.
I mean, I think you've already got that connection with him and Vader, being obsessed with Vader. That kind of connects it to the previous trilogy already. Bit. Just that he's obsessed with Vader and trying to complete his work. Like we've heard.
Yeah.
I'll finish what you started,
Yeah, but I feel like Kylo, because we've had that problem with Star Wars with villains being kind of empty. Just like shells of a villain that get killed off pretty quickly and have no depth to them at all.
In the prequels?
But yeah. I mean, we only had a couple villains in the original series, the original trilogy. We had Darth Vader and the Emperor, and
I guess you could argue that Boba Fett was kind of empty in that way.
Oh yeah, he was totally a throwaway character that became this giant thing. Just like Darth Maul was super badass and awesome, but Lucas really just threw him away almost instantly.
Yeah.
But again, the fandom made it this huge character, and then they even brought him back in the canon.
Yeah.
With the show. But I feel like, we've had that emptiness of villains that Kylo needs something. He needs more depth than we've had in a villain in a long time.
Yeah, that would be nice to have a character.
And obviously, having the obsession with Vader and being a part of the Knights of Ren gives some depth to it. But I think that having that, familial tie to somebody would really make
it super personal for everyone.
And very personal for
all the main characters, yeah.
Especially if he ends up killing Han, like I think he will.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even if he's not related to anybody and he kills Han.
That's going to be emotional, but the emotional depth added to that, if he is like the son gone bad.
Yeah.
And he kills his father, strikes down his father, which is a giant theme through Star Wars.
Kill your dads!
Oh god.
Is that what you got from Star Wars?
No. But just, I don't know. I think he needs that depth. I don't know if we need that kind of depth from Rey.
Yeah, I don't know. It could go either way.
I mean, that's something we keep bringing up.
I honestly think it's more likely that Rey is related to somebody than Kylo.
Really?
Yeah, because I think he,
Wanna make another bet.
I don't have a great track record so far. I don't know. I'll get back to you on that. Maybe.
All right. Think I'll this time I'll give you some time to think about it.
Well, let me explain where I'm coming from here.
All right.
So, we said, or I just got finished saying that, it would be a more compelling story for Rey to be a loner. But at the same time, I think Kylo, I don't know if he needs that extra level of connection of being family. It just seems, I don't know. I could see, the universe of Star Wars is huge. And I could see people all over the place being obsessed with Vader. Yeah. And, I guess that's what this Knights of Ren group is. It's just a collection of people who are obsessed with Vader. But just having that, just making him a character that's just obsessed with Vader and wants to complete his work and, find the last Jedi and kill him and all that stuff. Connect with the Force, I guess. I don't know. We've seen some Force use from him, but I don't know what the connection with the Force is there.
Him, what looks to be attempting a Force blast type thing.
Yeah.
That's really all we've seen.
Maybe that's explained more. Maybe he was trained by Snoke. Maybe he, I don't know, just picked up on it in his obsession with Vader. Who knows?
Yeah. And the place I'm coming from is much like Luke getting pulled into something way bigger than himself, coming from nothing, just a farm boy, even though he had that background that he didn't know about at first.
Yeah.
I feel like Rey, we don't need that background that Luke had. She can just be nobody that gets pulled into this giant thing somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas just from a story, like a movie storytelling point of view for me, with Kylo, you're going to need a lot of time and a lot of explanation of him and where he came from, why he's there, and how he got to where he's at.
If he ends up not being related?
If he's not related to anyone, I think there's a lot of storytelling you have to put in to bring him from wherever he came from to where he's at now and the in-between. Whereas if he's related to someone, I think you have a lot more established where you can say, he was trained by Luke, he did this, show some stuff with Knights of Ren, and then, he's a bad guy. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot more time you're gonna have to use up focusing on him than the main story.
Well, I think you could also say that about just Han and Leia having kids to begin with. Nothing that we've seen so far has given any hint that Han and Leia have children, other than the original EU, which at this point we have no idea if that's going to be honored. Obviously, not a whole lot.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think you would have to do the same type of explaining.
For people working on it being fans, and people writing it being fans, and just for fans' sake, I think Han and Leia, obviously they have to be together. There would be giant outcry if they weren't.
Oh yeah.
But I think
they are.
They have to be, yeah. But I think they have to have a child, whether it's not Kylo, not Rey. Maybe it's just some important Resistance person that we don't know about yet.
I don't know. Do they have to have children?
I feel like there has to continue to be a Solo.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And even talking about Han and Leia, something I was looking at today. So, in the original trilogy, Luke is talking about, Jedi and things like that, and he's like, I have it, my sister has it, my father had it, type thing. Do we get any Force use from Leia in the new movie?
I think she maybe is more knowledgeable about the Force in this movie than she was before.
Do you think she's trained at all with Luke?
I think Luke... Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Luke has probably showed her a few things, maybe taught her how to meditate a little bit.
Maybe no outward Force use, but maybe some mind stuff, some vision stuff. Maybe something like that.
Maybe, yeah.
More of a quiet inner.
Well, Luke and Leia already have that connection that we see in Empire, where
between them, yes.
Yeah. So I think Luke is going to help her kind of cultivate that a little bit.
Or do you think she'll have any outward Force use?
I don't know.
Other than just that, almost like Yoda type of inward. Obviously, Yoda did outward stuff, but at first it was just that inward, visions. Things like that. She obviously had that pang of feeling whatever was happening to Luke.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe some mind control type stuff that she...
I don't know. I think maybe she might have been too busy
Too busy with the New Republic.
Yeah, to focus and train on to
Possibly.
cultivate
I mean, it's
that.
been 30 years. You would hope at some point they had some downtime.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
I keep thinking about her in the Thrawn trilogy, how she, it's always talking about Luke was helping her.
Trying to help her do something with it.
Yeah, yeah, and she, I forget if she... Actually, now that I think about it, in Shattered Empire, which is something we wanted to talk about briefly, she has this... part of the story is they go to Naboo. And, there's a bunch of stuff that happens there. Just read the comics. They're really good.
Yeah.
There's 4 issues of them. I think it's over now.
Mm-hmm.
But they go to Naboo, and she actually ends up walking through the hangar that Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan meet Darth Maul in.
Nice.
Which is cool. And she gets a flash of like residual Force energy of Darth Maul.
Nice.
Like where she feels really cold, and like one of the panels you see his face kind of overlaid over the
really
panel.
Cool.
So she definitely has a connection to the Force still. Yeah. And, maybe it is more tuned than it used to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know about
anything
like outward usage.
I mean, she's pretty old now too, but I don't know. I just had that thought.
Just a wrinkly old
today.
bag.
I just had that thought today that say we see her with a lightsaber at some point.
That'd be cool. I don't know if it'll happen.
I don't think it'll happen, but
that'd be cool.
I don't know,
I think that's more
I
of
just forgot about that until this week for some reason. That like, oh wait, she has some Force knowledge. She has that.
Yeah.
She gets the feelings of the Force.
Yeah.
She gets some vision type stuff. But did she ever try to do anything outwardly with that?
Yeah. I think it's going to be kept more that kind of inward.
Yeah.
Like just connection.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just there was an interesting thought I had.
Yeah.
So I was talking about Han and Leia's theme, and then going into John Williams, that not being a new score for the trailer. This the last week of October, he was in for what is supposedly the last scoring session for the film.
Sweet.
Doing the wrap up of everything for the movie. John Boyega and Daisy Ridley were posting some pictures on Instagram with John Williams because they went to hear it. But
they were there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Went, to the last scoring session.
Nice.
So the music should be done. It's probably still getting mastered and all that for the film.
It's so cool to see how like excited they are about all of this. Like they're true fans.
Oh yeah. Have you seen? I mean, there was a interview this week from Carrie Fisher was interviewing Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
About Star Wars. And she said she wasn't really a big fan prior. She said her sister was a huge fan, but she knew about Star Wars and obviously about a little bit about it. But if you've seen prior to the movies, if you saw like John Boyega would take show some Instagram videos and stuff in his room, like he had a shelf with Star Wars toys on it already.
That's cool.
Like he had action figures and things before they were giving him the new ones. Like he had older ones.
Yeah.
So like he definitely was a fan, and now he's going to be in the new Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But it's cool seeing them just so happy about it.
Yeah.
And even like seeing, again, we brought it up before, that Harrison Ford was really just kind of crappy about Star Wars stuff in the past, but how he's been happy too. And you like John Boyega posting pictures of him and Harrison Ford together, and Harrison Ford smiling, and them like hanging out and being cool, and him Harrison Ford being okay with it, not being the crusty old man that he had been about it in the past. And we even I
saw some video this week of Harrison Ford was on Oprah's show.
Yeah.
Did you see the same thing?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Harrison Ford was on Oprah, and Oprah was like, "Would you ever be in another Star Wars?" And Harrison was like, "No. I don't feel like character is compelling enough to to return to it. Like I feel like Indiana Jones is more of a compelling character, and I would be more interested in seeing that." So I don't know. It's cool.
We're gonna get that too.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, he just came back for both.
But it's cool to see that he's back. And
well, yeah, we even had it in our notes here that he was on, what was it, Jimmy Kimmel this the last week of October.
Yeah.
And he was getting asked about the movie and basically not being able to answer any questions about it. But like at one point, he genuinely said the movie is good. He's like, the movie's really good.
Yeah. That coming from Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Cool.
When he wouldn't even talk about it before, and he was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Cool.
Yeah. But now he's like, yeah, it's really good, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Harrison Ford says the new Star Wars movie is really good.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good enough endorsement.
Probably, yeah.
As if we needed that already.
We needed it from anyone, but to have it from Harrison Ford is pretty cool. When you wouldn't have heard him talk about Star Wars ever.
Right.
In the last,
right.
however many years.
I mean, I'm sure the billions of dollars that he's making from this are helping a little bit. Maybe just a little bit.
Probably.
But still.
Yeah, still. He may just be so happy because he's done with it because he dies, and he knows this is the last time he has to deal with it.
So he's just saying...
No. He may be happier about it because he's like, finally, I'm out. Han Solo's dead.
Is he going to die soon?
No, Han Solo died.
Oh, all right.
Maybe he's just happy to be done with the franchise. He's like, hey, I don't have to be a part of anything else with this because my character's gone. On to more crappy Indiana Jones movies. I hope the next one's not crappy, but...
It probably will be.
At least it won't have... what's his face?
Just do it!
Yes. At least he won't be swinging from
Mr.
vines.
Mr. LeBouf himself.
Yes, LeBouf.
LeBouf.
Anyways, so yeah, they're finally winning for the last scoring session.
Do it!
I'm getting to it. So yeah, last scoring session. So that soundtrack that is available for pre-order is probably done recording and getting mastered now for the film and for that soundtrack, which I cannot wait for.
So good.
New themes.
It's gonna be so good.
Other new stuff that is coming out, like the soundtrack not getting released until the 18th. There's a book coming out on the 18th along with the novelization version of the film. There's also a book called Star Wars Before the Awakening, which on the cover has Finn, Rey, and Poe.
Yeah.
And it's going to focus on kind of what was up with them prior to the film. Before now, on the English version of Amazon, the synopsis of the book had the synopsis of a companion piece to the Journey to Star Wars The Force Awakens character novels. Star Wars Before the Awakening is an anthology book that focuses on the lives of Rey, Finn, and Poe before the events of Star Wars The Force Awakens. So, super, no information, just cut and dry. It's a movie about them before, hence the name Before the Awakening. But the Spanish version of Amazon had a quite different synopsis. Once translated, it says, before they united in the fight against evil, Rey, Poe, and Finn led very different lives. Rey was a lone scavenger on the desert planet of Jakku. Poe was a pilot for the Republic. Notice it says Republic, not the Resistance. And Finn was only FN 2187, a promising but reluctant stormtrooper. These are their stories. This is what happened before the Awakening.
Yep. Pretty cool.
So it's interesting.
That confirms two things for me, which
What?
you're probably about to talk about.
Poe and
yeah, and Finn.
Poe and Finn, yes.
We've talked about Finn before. How Finn is just a stormtrooper.
Just a nobody stormtrooper that doesn't really have a past other than being pulled into the First Order, probably pretty young and trained. Into
Somehow,
FN
yeah.
2187.
Whether he signed up like, guys used to do during the Empire, or maybe he was drafted,
or just taken captive from a planet that was taken over by them or
conscripted, something like that, into the First Order. But yeah, he's just a stormtrooper with just a designation.
Just a call sign, basically.
Yeah. Which actually, I mean, there's a, one of the voice things for Kylo. What's the word for it?
That was the Phasma voice thing.
Was that Phasma, or was that?
It was saying FN 2187.
Fire
yeah.
FN 2187. Yeah, I thought that was Kylo saying that.
It was the Phasma talking doll.
But anyway, so she's talking about Finn.
Yeah, he's just a designation, just a stormtrooper.
Yeah,
but
which makes sense. I mean, that's not a super crazy revelation. It's just kind of confirms that.
Yeah,
he's just a nobody, really.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. And maybe he was, like we talked about before. Maybe they were trained with lightsabers to try to defend against the Jedi or fight the Jedi.
Right. And then the second thing, well, I mean, I guess it's different for you, but for me, the second thing was that Rey is just a lone scavenger on Jakku.
That's what it says. And
So-
yeah, I mean, I am feeling more and more that she's just a nobody.
Yeah, so maybe that I take that to mean that yeah, she's also just a nobody that kind of gets pulled into this, you know, and not really related to
Yeah.
anyone.
They'll just have some filler stuff of what she was doing or how she got to Jakku if
Yeah.
we don't get any backstory of her in the movie.
Right.
My big thing with this is with Poe saying that he was a pilot for
The
the
Republic.
Republic.
Right.
We
not
talked
the
about
Resistance.
this last week. Just you and I were talking about what is the difference between the Republic and the Resistance.
Yeah.
So, obviously, they're the Resistance. They're not the Republic.
Yeah.
What affiliation they have with each other, we don't know at this point. But we do know from comic books and other books that the New Republic was set up right
Yep.
after the Empire was destroyed.
Right.
In the wake of the Empire, in the shattered Empire, the New
Right.
Republic was created, and
I mean, the Senate was reconvened, rebuilt.
Yep.
On
and
Coruscant.
Mon Mothma was in charge of that, right?
She was still like the leader of the. And she had some high political
Wasn't she
position.
like the
I don't-
senator,
I
basically?
don't-
Like, wasn't she a senator, basically?
Maybe she
or a
was
higher
the
level?
maybe she was the chancellor, the grand
Yeah.
chancellor or whatever.
And we know,
I should probably know. We should both know
yeah.
who that.
Well, yeah.
Well, maybe not.
And we know in Aftermath, I think, what was it that? I know Leia gives a speech, but Admiral Akbar, I think, also gives gives a speech about the New Republic.
Yeah.
So, like, he's still like the general of the army for the Republic. And then Leia seems obviously pretty involved. She seems to be a general of some sort too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But where's the breakoff point of why there needs to be a resistance?
Yeah.
Obviously, at some point, the First Order rises up and they have to fight against it. But why isn't the New Republic? Why doesn't the New Republic have an army fighting against it?
Right. We
Why
were
is
talking
there
about
this
this,
resistance?
trying to figure out what that might be.
So,
I mean, maybe maybe seeing what happened to the Republic, the old Republic, and how that army was kind of turned against the Republic.
having that giant military influence.
Yeah, so maybe this is a peaceful organization this
maybe
time
the New
around.
Republic with Mon Mothma, obviously, she was all about peace.
Yeah, maybe the military was disbanded at some point.
Yeah,
You
maybe
know?
they decided to go to try to do it peacefully, since pretty much the entire
Yeah,
everyone was under the Empire's control, and they all wanted to be free and have more of there'd be leaders of each world type thing,
right.
like there was before, but without the threat of any army or
But, I mean-
anyone having major control over anyone.
Right. But at what point does the Empire's threat, or the shattered Empire, the Empire remnants, at one point does that threat not really matter anymore, and they decide, okay, let's just disband all of
How
our
long does it take
military?
for them to not be a problem, to not need a
Right.
military.
How long has this resistance been around?
That, or maybe they just have a downsized military, but they had to create, or like we were saying, what I was saying to you prior was, so maybe they do become a peaceful governing body,
Yeah.
just kind of interceding, helping with political things, but not having any army control or anything to threaten anyone with to
Right.
try to intercede.
Yeah.
But they see this oncoming tide of this First Order, and they know they need to do something about it, but outwardly they don't want to show any force to make people afraid of them due to what's happened in the past.
So maybe this is an unofficial.
Maybe it's a
Thing.
officially unofficial,
Yeah.
like Black Ops type group. Like, we're going to create this resistance. No one can know about it, and if they find out about it, we're going to deny you type thing.
Some guerrilla type group.
Yeah, kind of like Black Ops, people like that. Like, if anyone, like, we're sending you here, but if anyone finds out about you, we know nothing about you, and we're going to disown knowing anything about you, and
maybe.
good luck type thing.
I mean, they're using the same symbol that the rebellion used, the same insignia.
Yeah,
That
the old insignia.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The old rebellion before the New Republic was formed.
Yeah,
They're using that. I mean, Han and Leia are still high up there.
well, again, she's a general now, so maybe this was partly her idea to do this, and she had to be the general of the resistance.
Maybe, yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if we know much about where Admiral Akbar is at this point, if he's still alive.
Not officially. Well, I guess not at the point that the movie picks up.
Yeah.
Aftermath kind of covers what he's up to in the New Republic.
Yeah, but does he go with the Resistance to help with that?
Yeah,
or
that's
is
what
he
I don't
still
know.
Just a higher up figure?
He's in the movie, so
Yeah, he is.
at some point, I just don't know what he's up
So
to.
yeah, that's something we were just talking about. Just seeing this book synopsis with Poe, saying Poe is a fighter for the Republic.
Yeah.
There's obviously a separation of Republic and Resistance. I don't think if they are related, if the Resistance was created by the Republic, I don't think they acknowledge the Resistance as being their idea. I think it's either an offshoot, either it was a forceful thing of like, hey, we're going to deal with this. Well, fine, you can't be a part of the New Republic anymore. Leia, take your group and go do whatever you want, but we're not going to stop you, but you're also not going to be a part of us anymore.
I think that's more likely.
More of a kind of like a
More
fight,
likely than
there was infighting, and she
Yeah.
knew something needed to be done, but no one would
Right.
man up to do that because they didn't want what happened before to happen again,
Yeah.
type thing.
Because it feels like, we've said this before, the Resistance feels very, very much like the Rebellion did. Very guerrilla, very small, not
Yeah, made out of
crazy
nothing.
powerful. Yeah. So I think it is. That's more likely than just a secret like Black Ops kind of deal. Because if that was the case, maybe the New Republic could funnel more money and get them some
But
more.
at the same time, if they
more
they don't,
equipment and stuff.
there doesn't need to be a quote paper trail. They don't want to have any relation with them for any of the public to find out that they did this or they're part of this to try to save face with the rest of the universe.
Maybe,
They
but
do have a force.
but if they're connected to the New Republic and some major figures stayed over there, like let's say Akbar stayed over there, he's got to have connections. Or let's say like Lando stays over. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I could see Lando staying there, but
I doubt it.
But let's say Akbar does stay
Yeah.
over there. He's got to have some connections that if they were connected to the New Republic somehow, that could help them out.
Possibly.
I don't know. It feels more of like a small group, like a splinter group. You know?
Maybe. I don't know. My thought is still that they almost created this to have a force to fight against the First Order without having the First Order backlash come into the government. So they had something to like separate themselves from that fight so that the government stays intact while these armies are fighting so that they're not a part of it type thing.
Maybe.
Like if we start our own army and everyone knows the Resistance is ours.
Maybe, I mean, I've seen this theory around, maybe there's some kind of peace treaty going on that would be violated if the New Republic was to do anything. So then that caused the
Like a
splinter
peace treaty
group.
between the First Order and the New Republic?
Or the New Republic and just systems. Who knows,
Maybe.
what it is, but I don't know. Maybe it's...
Yeah, I'm just...
Maybe
I'm
that
really-
would be violated by creating an army, and that could
Possibly.
splinter off.
I don't know, I'm just interested in how that creation's formed, of what their ties are, if it's a...
There's so much crap that needs to be
If
explained.
if it's a bad break, or if it's like a secret type operation.
Yeah.
But that novel synopsis definitely...
I guess considering everything that's going to happen in this movie, that's probably one of the minor things.
Yeah, that's not going to matter as much. But still, to me, I mean...
That's
it
like us
matters to
wondering
me.
the details about the trade negotiations and
No one
Federalists.
wondered about those. Not a single person wondered about the Trade Federation or the blockades or any of that.
there's a lot, but there's info that you can.
Oh,
there's like canon,
There's a lot behind it, I think.
I think.
I don't think anyone cared about any of that political stuff that George tried to force down everyone's throat with Episode 1.
We should probably know that though, just because we're a Star Wars podcast.
I don't want to care. I never want to care or know anything about the Trade Republic or their blockades.
It's the Trade Federation.
Oh yeah, Trade Federation. Sorry, I don't even care. So yeah, so that synopsis was cool.
Another minor point: Mark Hamill is
Yes.
growing his beard back now, starting now.
Yeah, he tweeted a week or two ago saying, "I'm, the shaving stops now for the foreseeable future," something like that.
Yeah, and then contractual beard requirements or something like that.
Yes.
Basically hinting that episode 8, he's going to be in episode 8, obviously, and
The beard is back.
the beard is back for it. So what we were saying before about him being around for 7
He was clean shaven
with no beard,
in Scotland or Ireland or wherever he was.
I guess that means that's not related to episode 8 at all.
Yeah,
that was just post shooting.
I saw somewhere, I think he was on an episode of The Flash. And he
Oh,
was,
yeah,
and
that-
he
that-
was
yeah.
clean shaven. And
You're right.
People are
That's what it
assuming
was.
that was why he shaved, was for that show.
Yeah.
And then whatever time off he had, he just kept shaving until now when he needs to grow it back.
Yeah.
Because apparently 8 hasn't started filming yet.
So then I wonder if that means he really is just going to be have a very minor role.
I'm telling you, he
In
is
7.
not in episode 7 until the last 5 to 10 minutes.
But there's been so much emphasis on his appearance that if you see him, you know something's going on.
Yes.
Like you can make some assumptions just based on his appearance. So
5 to 10 minutes. So the last 5 to 10 minutes is when you'll see Luke.
is that assumption just that he's been a hermit? I mean, that doesn't seem like a major
in
assumption
hiding.
though.
He's in hiding.
But we've
Ray-
already guessed that. I mean,
Yeah,
it
obviously.
seems like it's more important than that.
I don't know.
Something
I
bigger.
honestly think that he has almost zero part to this movie other than the storytelling of what happened with him.
Yeah, I would
There will
agree
be some,
with
maybe
that.
some flashbacks or something,
Yeah.
or people talking about what happened. Maybe we don't even see him in those flashbacks. Maybe it's just like that. Maybe that was that shot with his hand on, if that's him, his hand on R2, and we see, they're talking about something that happened, and maybe that is something he's looking on and the regret of something that happened.
It could
But
be.
even in that shot, you don't see his face.
Yeah.
Like maybe we just don't see him. We don't see his actual person, his face,
Yeah.
until the actual reveal. Which I'm saying, the last 5 to 10 minutes, the first time you see him.
I would say a little bit before then, but I wouldn't say last 5 to 10 minutes. That seems like a.
There's another bet waiting right there.
So what have we got so far? What was the first bet?
The first one, that Han and Leia have a child.
Oh yeah, that's right. That Kylo is
That Kylo
not.
or Rey is one of their child. Is their child?
Well, I think we both
said.
agree that Rey is not.
Probably. I think you want to bet that Kylo.
That Kylo is
or is
also
not.
not.
I am for he is, and you are for he is not.
Right.
And then I am definitely saying that we will not see.
5 to 10 minutes.
I do not think we will see Luke's face until the last 10 minutes of the movie.
I don't agree with that. We saw Spock in the Star Trek reboot like halfway through.
I don't think we will see Luke in the current timeline, in the current time period.
Luke is the new Spock. Luke is Spock for this movie. The old Spock.
Pretty much, he's old Spock. I'm saying, this doesn't include flashbacks or visions.
Can you imagine what this movie would be like if the writers for Star Trek and Lost wrote it?
No, please.
Oh my gosh.
I like the JJ's a part of it, but leave the rest of them out. No, I mean, maybe we'll see him in a flashback or a vision of the future type thing. But I don't think we will see him like live with the current characters.
Like present day Luke.
Present day Luke. I do not think we will see him until the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Semantics. Because then technically you do see Luke. So we're
He
saying.
probably wouldn't have a beard at that point.
So you're saying present day Luke only.
Present day Luke is not seen until the last 10 minutes of the movie. I don't think he is actively part of the film at all. And
Do you think
then
they're trying to find him?
No, I think
For most of the movie?
they know where he is.
Hmm.
Someone knows where he is. I don't think they go to find him until the very, very end.
Interesting.
I think seeing him will be the last thing we see before cut to credits.
It'd be so frustrating.
Oh, it will, but obviously, but just like when you saw the Star Wars movies as a kid,
Yeah.
and there was that one thing that happened at the end of the movie before cut to Star Wars theme music playing with the credits, and you just get those chills all over of like, holy crap, we need the next movie.
Yeah.
I think
that would definitely give you that if that
seeing
actually
Luke's
happens.
face will be the last thing we see.
Oh boy.
You're not disagreeing with me.
I can't decide really, because what you're saying makes sense, but at the same time,
I honestly think he has no. I mean, all the shooting.
I agree with you that he has no major role, like
Yeah.
on-screen role.
Yeah.
That he's going to be maybe talked about a lot
Mhm.
and referred to a lot, but not shown a lot. I agree with that.
Okay.
But maybe not the last 10 minutes of the movie. That
I
seems a
don't think
little
we'll actually
extreme.
see him in current time until the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
They go to find him at the end, and they find him and cut to credits.
Maybe that will be the next bet.
All right.
We'll see.
Think on that one.
Related to that, though, Luke is not the next
Oh, jeez.
freaking Sith Lord.
Come on, people.
Everyone who's saying that Luke is Kylo or Luke is Snoke.
I see
Or-
so much of it constantly online that everyone is like, we haven't seen Kylo without his mask on. It's Luke is the bad guy. Luke is a Sith. Luke is Snoke. Luke is Kylo.
No, screw you people.
We haven't seen C-3PO in a trailer or anything else. What if he's Kylo? What if C-3PO went bad?
Nia Num
We
is
saw
Kylo.
him. We saw him in the background of.
Was he there?
Yeah. But people keep saying that. First off, no offense to Mark Hamill, he can't be as skinny as Kylo is.
Or tall.
It's tall. It's not possible at that age. Secondly, in the trailer, when the Kylo Ren jumps towards Finn, he has, like shoulder length black curly-ish hair,
Yeah.
like Adam Driver.
Right.
Mark Hamill can also not do that. With his
And there's
hair.
no beard. Well,
Yeah, well,
from what
yeah.
you could see around
And
the
of
hair.
course, we've seen the promotional pictures and stuff like that with Kylo without his mask on.
Yeah.
It is Adam Driver. It's Kylo Ren. Luke is not a bad guy. I
Right.
think it would go against so much of Star Wars to make Luke a bad guy.
Yeah.
There would be too much outcry, for one. And two, that's just lazy storytelling.
Like, oh, Luke is a bad guy
It's a
now.
shock. What a twist. I don't know why there's such a big...
We don't have to talk any more about it. It's just
there's so
it's
many
obviously
people.
wrong.
Yeah, so many people think that, and I don't understand why.
And by the way, freaking Jar Jar is not a Sith Lord either.
There was a big
All right?
post on Reddit the last couple weeks of someone explaining that Jar Jar was a advanced Force user, and is also evil Sith Lord that was working for the Sith during the movies, which is a really funny read. But no thank you. just no thank you.
I saw on Reddit an AMA request for George Lucas to talk about Jar Jar being a Sith Lord. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, good
That's
luck
never
getting
gonna
George
happen.
Lucas to talk about Star Wars ever again.
Getting him to do anything,
At this point, he's just
answer any questions,
get him
let
to-
alone about Jar Jar.
to get him to crawl out of his money pool from the purchase of Lucasfilm. That's not going to happen. You would have to buy him another money pool to get him to crawl out of his current money pool to say anything about anything.
That's not gonna happen.
Another cool thing I saw this past week about just like behind the scenes making of type thing with the movie is the lightsabers. Obviously, in the past, the lightsabers were either like light sticks or something they just put visual effects over.
Yeah.
There wasn't like an actual lightsaber, like a true lightsaber prop.
Yeah, they use rotoscoping
Yeah.
in the older movies to do
But
that. Yeah.
what I was reading is that the lightsabers in Force Awakens are just kind of customized and advanced versions of the Force Effects sabers that we can buy at retail. Which you can actually see in some of the early shots of, like that early shot of Finn in the snow with a lightsaber and early shots of Kylo with the lightsaber. If you pause it, you can tell that it's actually a Force Effects saber that's lit up and it doesn't have that post-production crackle on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's some shots you can see that.
So it's just a glowing
Just the glowing
saber
lightsaber.
tube. That's really cool.
And then obviously they will go back and put the effects over it to make it look all crackly and all
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
But they use those, one, so that the actors had legitimate props to make them get more into character. But two, part of the customization of it is to vary the light levels in them. So that, like that shot where Finn is holding that lightsaber and you see that blue glow on his face.
It's real glow.
It's actually used for part of the lighting of the film. They're not having to go back and put that in.
Again, another JJ touch. I mean, I don't know if it was JJ who made the decision, but
practical.
Another touch made for this movie. Yeah, a practical effect. Something that's not added in post-production.
But yeah, I
so
like
cool.
that. Like, that blue glow on Finn's face with that lightsaber. It's the actual glow coming from a lightsaber prop, and it's not just put on later. It gives more realism to both the actors and to the film.
It was pretty sweet.
Which I thought was really cool to find out.
Again, another instance of like fan creations or fan. Well, I guess those aren't really fan creations, but I mean, just
The Force Effects
things
sabers.
for fans of the movie now informing an actual Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I mean, the Force Effects
it's pretty
sabers
cool.
were basically built for cosplaying.
Yeah.
And they've come back around to being part of making of the movie because
Right.
they were made so well for the fans. They were
Yeah.
made so well. That,
Another thing with that is they asked this fan group in the UK that made R2,
some
like
of the
real
droid
R2
builders.
droids. Yeah, the Droid Builders company. I don't know what they're actually called, the name of the company, but guys that just did it for conventions and
Yeah.
stuff are now building the actual R2 units,
film.
several of the droid units that are being used in the film. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And then, I mean, there's just fan touches in general. Like in the trailer you saw with flags hanging above, what is assumed to be Maz Kanata's, like,
Right.
pirate den. Those flags, there's little fan hints all over the place. The pod racer flags, the Boba Fett, the symbol there. But like little touches of just the creators being fans too. Like
Yeah.
something you mentioned was with Finn's call sign, the FN 2187.
Yeah.
That 2187 is the same as the cell number of the cell that Leia was in.
Yeah.
And
It's the
Death
new
Star.
THX 1138,
Yeah.
the little reference that kind of goes around all the
Yeah.
movies. I'm
Like
sure
that
that'll be
touch.
in there somewhere too.
Yeah.
And then I had a little theory that the Knights of Ren are related to Ren and Stimpy. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
The Knights of Ren
Luke is
are
Kylo,
yeah,
obviously.
obviously
And then his love of cartoons led into this group he created
called the Knights of Ren.
because Ren and Stimpy was amazing.
Yes,
Obviously.
that's
Yeah, internet, your theories suck, and so do ours.
See, we can do this too.
Yeah, we can make up crap that makes no sense too. Welcome to the show. I think that's it for this week. As always, please. So I found out this past week that Google Play is finally to think that they've not had a podcast portal at any point. They just have Google Play Music.
Yeah,
Google Play is releasing a podcast portal soon. We don't have a date yet, but they opened up submissions for podcasts. We have submitted and we have been approved.
Yep.
So when Google Play Podcast Portal comes up for Android users, we will be there. You can rate and review us there because I don't know where else you can rate and review podcasts if you're not using iTunes. I think maybe Stitcher and stuff like that allow it.
maybe, but who
But
uses
people
that?
use the apps on their phones to download podcasts where you can't rate and review anything other than iTunes, which please, rate and review us if you would like.
Speaking of, go put a review on iTunes,
Please.
please.
At this point, it's just ours, really.
Yes, we did review our own podcast.
Yeah, we had to have
We had to put something
up
up there.
Exactly.
It could just be nothing.
You can follow us on Twitter at Hokey_religion.
Yep.
And you can send us an email if you have a fan theory. If you have anything you want to say to us, we may not put it on the podcast, but we would love to hear you.
We're so desperate.
You can
Just
email
say
us
anything.
Yeah, you can email us at hockeyreligionpod@gmail.com.
Send us anything. Send us pictures of your animals. Send us,
money.
money. We'll take money.
You can make bets with us. Michael will owe you money.
Wait a second. No, I don't agree to that.
Well, fine. But yeah, so you can email us, follow us on Twitter. You can hit us up on Twitter. We're pretty good at replying to things.
Yeah, Tyler does most of the Twitter stuff. Every time I use our account, I forget to sign my name, and no one knows who.
Because then we start having a conversation back and forth on the same
But it's two different people.
account, but it's no one signing their name. So it's just like a crazy person talking to themselves on Twitter. It's like the most desperate thing ever to talk to yourself on the internet. You can't even talk to yourself in person. So yeah, rate and review. Send us an email. Follow us on Twitter. That'd be great. But I think that's it for this week for Hokey Religion. This is Tyler.
This is Michael.
See ya.
Hokey Religion is an ancient weapon. Hokey Religion is an ancient weapon, so no match for a good blaster at your side.
Is
toggling this little twaddle here.